Okay, welcome. I'm just testing this out today. I've got a new OBS setup, got my fancy camera and my logo and my desktop. So if I bring up my desktop and hide my camera, I go back to this view and we see OBS, and let's try and do something here. So I'll close down a bit. I've got my stream going on and just want to test it out a little bit. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a simple HTML JavaScript weather app, right? So I've got a project here. I'm going to open a file. This is a project. That's pretty much all it is. And then I'd like to introduce you to the yurt. That's my roof back there. I've got my wood stove, my bench, a bed, fan, some things to make it comfortable. And I work here every day. And anyway, this is just a test. So I'm going to go ahead and get back into the code, say goodbye to my main camera, and here's my little camera off to the side. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to close down a bunch of windows at first, and then we're going to show our browser. Let's see if I bring up Chrome. Oh, that didn't work. I need Chrome to be in front of the desktop. Here we go. So I click on OBS and Chrome comes up, and here's my YouTube channel. I'm in and out of my hexagon shaped camera image. All right, so let's just look for Open Weather API, and I think I've used this before. It might have been something else. The idea is we want to find the weather in a certain location, get an API call, and present it to the screen. So I'm kind of winging it here. Let's see what we do. I guess first I need to figure out how to get the API, how to get an API key. There's my API doc, there's my subscribe. All right, so with Open Weather, to log in, you just need to register. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that off screen. So I'll say goodbye to Chrome. And so I'm gonna enter my email address. Weather at One Shore, title, I guess Mr. First name, my name's Aaron Evans. Continue to payment. $1,000 APIs calls per day for free. Let's bring Chrome back up. There's Chrome. All right, so we've got pricing here. It says you get 1,000 API calls per day free. Maybe this is not free. Okay, free. Get the API key. Here we go. We just need a username. So I will just call this One Shore, and the email I'll call it weather@oneshore.com. Create a password. Yep, I'm over 16. I agree with the privacy policy, and I consent to receive communication. Let's see, fire hydrants. CAPTCHA, reCAPTCHA. Never end. All right, verify. And create account. Password doesn't match. Oh, great. I've got to go through that again. Click, click, click and click. I'm not a robot. Bicycles. So we're going to find all the bikes. Maybe that was bikes, maybe it wasn't. Are those bikes? I can't tell. Select all the cars. That's a car, that's a car, that's a car. Expect your traffic ticket soon. Verify. All right, looks good. Create account. All right. Sure, we'll save that. Purpose. Other, I guess we're just playing around. All right, so we sent a confirmation link to weather at One Shore. I'll check that off screen. Let me see. I'm not seeing it there. Here we go. Open weather team. So we'll bring that over, and should be able to see an email that says, "Dear customer, thank you for choosing Open Weather Map." Verify your email. So I guess with a quick screenshot, I could share that. I don't know how to do a screenshot yet with OBS. Could try it out. New. Forget it. Okay. Anyway, I click verify on my email. And then it says sign. Your email address has been successfully confirmed. So we'll bring that up over here. Say goodbye to Chrome. Say hello to Brave. And we need to enter our email address. Weather at One Shore. Remember me. All right, so signed in successfully. Sure, we'll save that for now. Weather dashboard. Flexible visual tool. I don't need that. I need API keys. All right, so here's my API key. I'm just going to grab this. And so for instance, I could generate a new key. 870. Call it demo. And okay, so it can create other ones, so I can add or remove them. And that's what I'll do at the end of this. But here's my API key. I'm going to start by, I'm just going to create a file, and we're going to call that Open Weather. If I could type it, .js, sure. And I'm going to put my API key here. All right, and since this is JavaScript, sure, let's go ahead and make it a variable or a constant. So we've got our API key. Let's learn how we use it. All right, let's go ahead and close down Brave and bring Chrome back up. All right, so Chrome's here. How do we use the API? We need to, here's the API guide. How to make an API call? HTTP open API. Do they have any examples like a curl or something? Okay, so we put lat and long. We exclude something. Optional, so we could exclude, so we can include minute, hourly, daily, or alerts. And our app ID is our API key. All right, so let's go ahead and try this out first. So we'll bring up a terminal here. Goodbye to Chrome. All right, so we should have probably called this Open Weather or something like that. So we're just going to curl. We're going to put in our API key here, which is stored over here. Nope, didn't do it. Let's grab that URL again. Here, I'm going to export this in my shell. So now I can do echo open weather API key. That's my URL. Got some serious cut and paste issues going on here. Try this again. No! What's wrong with this computer? All right, so we're going to export open weather API key, and now we can echo open weather API key, and we've got it there. And then we've got our URL. Well, we don't have our URL. Wow, this clipboard's really something. All right, we've got that. And it's pretty hard to see with the screen size. Let's make the project disappear. We still can't see it all. We can remove exclude, so we'll remove that so we can get it all on screen. So we want to get our API key. We want to get our Latin long. So we'll make it latitude and longitude. And just for fun, I will get my current location. Which is Libby, Montana. So let's see, I've got 48 degrees north, 115 west. And my suspicion is that that's negative because it's to the left of the meridian. So now we can actually, let's go ahead and take this URL and we'll make this a here string or whatever it's called. We're going to put lat equals latitude and long equals longitude. Let's put this on the next line. Oh, you know what I can do is I can just view word wrap, right? That's what I need here. Move this over to the side so we can see it instead of seeing my pretty face. I'm going to throw some spaces in here just because I want it to look nice. All right, so we don't want to do that plus jazz. We want to have it all in one string. So we can actually shrink it down if we want. So we get it all on the same line. We need to make our backtick here. And then the last thing is we need our open weather API key. And we'll put the $ brackets here. All right, so let's do our first test, right? So let's do console.log open weather API URL. Wow, that's really friendly Visual Studio Code. I don't want to see anything. Okay, so we can type node openweather.js. And here's our URL. You can see we've substituted our latitude and our longitude and our app ID. So I'm just going to grab this code here and use curl right now and see what we get. Parse at and. We probably need some double quotes around that. All right, note that requires a subscription to the call by call plan. Look at the price. If you have a valid subscription but still receive errors, well, we're hitting the endpoint, but we don't know how to get it. Current weather. Okay, so let's bring up Chrome again. We're going to look at the documentation. All right, current weather data. That's what we want. So let's look at our API doc. All right, so this is the URL we want. Let's see, data 2.5 weather. And this is data one call, okay. So let's see, everything else, lat, long, app ID, all the same. So we should be able to grab the rest of this stuff and do that. All right, so we've got our string, we've got our URL. Called node open weather.js. Here's our URL. So notice we're using the data 2.5 weather instead of whatever the one call URL is. So I'm going to grab this URL. I'm going to use curl to test it out, and that's right, we learned that we need quotes. And we've learned that our cut and paste doesn't work. Invalid API key. Well, that was a short trip. All right, so let's go back to our API key. We don't want the one call. Let's see, one show my API keys. All right, probably too many people have abused this, and they make it deliberately hard to use because they're afraid people use it. So let's copy it. Nope. We accumulate the total load from all of them. 870996. That sure looks right to me. Error 401 for more info. All right, goodbye Chrome. So here's what we're getting. We're sending curl requests to this URL. We're sending a, it doesn't say whether we should send a get request or something else. And my app ID is here. For some reason, the backtick isn't working on here. There we go. Well, that looks awfully similar to what we just did, except for the latitude and longitude is different. 870D744 FD 5DA 966. So we can see we're getting something from Zacca, Italy, clouds. So we'll try this again. We'll change our lat and longitude. What's my lat and longitude? 48.38. Call it 48.4. And negative 115.55. All you do is change the API key and you get an invalid, or you change the longitude and you get an invalid API key. How about that? Maybe it will only use the demo. Nope, now it's saying invalid API key again. So all right, we're going to copy this again. We're going to paste our app ID here. We're going to include some quotes. And we get the URL. So unless it says we have an invalid API key for different latitude and longitude, then that's the issue right there. So we're just going to go through one by one. We're going to change the latitude, change it to 54. That's all I'm going to change. All right, and then we get Heiligenhofer, Denmark, okay? We go 48.38 and we get Friedberg. All right, and then we're going to try negative 115.55. Maybe the negative's an issue? Nope. Here we got Libby, Montana, US. All right. So we can see the weather here is clouds. It's partially cloudy. Yeah, I'd say it's about 70% cloudy, not 90%. Let's see. Wind. Yep, winds are light. Temperature is 282 Kelvin, I believe. Pressure 1016 millibars. I wonder if we can get this in Fahrenheit and if we can get this in inches of mercury. Humidity, that's probably 66%. We're more than 1,000 foot above. Oh, that's probably 1,000 meters above sea level. No, we're not that high. Oh, maybe clouds. Ceiling. It's a pretty low ceiling, so I'd say ceiling is at 3,000 feet. That'd still only be about, that'd be 1,000 meters. But plus, we're at about 2,000 feet here, 1,900. All right, so we've got our API sort of working. Now let's try and actually use JavaScript to do this. So let me see if I hear Node 18 has built-in fetch, right? Let's bring Chrome back up. and see. So we don't have to import node fetch or anything. So here we go. Node 18, fetch API, test runner module and more. Okay. The fetch API. Say goodbye to node fetch. Now the fetch API is available on the global scope by default. I think we should still import it, right? You import FS. JSON's the only thing I can think of that you don't import. All right, so we can do const response equals await fetch open API, open weather API URL. And we may be having issue with this. After all, we were getting failures. We'll see if we get invalid APIs. And then we can say if response dot okay. Now are we going to run into async issues here? We'll see in a minute. Const here, let's switch back over to what I'm typing. All right, so you can see I'm just copying this code here. I don't know what the API Belo.app is. Let's find out. What is Belo? I don't know. Tu dinero más Belo. Your money is more. What is Belo? Bonito. Well, that's not going to help. Is it Spanish? Beautiful. Your money is beautiful. Like Bea or Belle. Bella. Okay. Obviously, I need to learn how to switch back and forth with Chrome. So I have Chrome on a separate view here. So that I can make it appear and disappear. But I've got to hop on over to OBS to do that. That's a little bit inconvenient for me. All right, we don't need top chat on screen. Let's go ahead and figure this out, right? So we want to do const data equals await. I suspect we're going to have to use callbacks. Like we're doing right here. All right. Let's be inconsistent in our semicolons. Let's go ahead and run this. Node open weather. Here's something else. I just figured this out the other day for someone else. Let's figure this out. Okay, so node we want to call async function. So let's see. Well, this is not even node. Async await in node. How to call an async function. I'm going to get Stack Overflow. It's going to help me out more here. We'll bring them both up. Okay, how to call async functions. Go away. We want to see the website. Well, this is going to tell us with requests. Okay. According to async function, where we just were, a promise will resolve blah blah blah. So we need, yeah, we need to call it in an anonymous function. So I guess we need to wrap all this, or at least wrap this. let's go ahead and bring all of this into here. Here's one thing I love. Oh, look, it's a closure. That's all closures are, is outer scoped or global scoped variables. And then what we could do is we could pass in latitude and longitude here. And then we can do async. So we're calling an anonymous async function that calls, right? We could have just pasted this all into here. So we'll await show current weather. And we'll pass in our latitude and longitude. And then we need to, so here we're defining an anonymous function, and then here we're calling it with the brackets, right? We're executing it. Right, this is our anonymous async function. And yeah, that might work. But it looks like we've got something wrong here. Oh, we're not defining our function, we're just calling it. And then we'll try this out. Oh, I failed again. Chrome, go away. All right, so here's what we're doing. We've defined an async function called show current weather. We're passing in our latitude and our longitude, which are defined out here in an outer scope. It's a closure. Well, what we could do is to truly utilize a closure, we could do this. And then we could do, so now we're setting a variable in the outer scope response here. Maybe we'll call this weather. Now this is the opposite of functional programming. Functional programming does not have side effects. Closures and currying are by definition creating side effects. So don't let anyone tell you that closures or currying have anything to do with functional programming. Okay, so we've got weather equals open API, then we call this, and then we can await show current weather. So then we would actually need to do this. And then we can console.log current weather. What is it, weather? Is that what we want? Oh, I forgot, we're not using semicolons today. But then we need a bracket. All right, let's see what happens. I'm sure something will go wrong. Nope, nothing went wrong. Oh my. So what's our next step? Well, our next step is to pass the latitude and longitude as parameters. So let's actually see if there's, I'm pretty sure there is a way to, so I'm going to bring up Chrome. I'm going to look up Open Weather API. Current weather by city and country. Bad documentation. Current weather data API docs. Okay. How to make an API call? So Latin long, mode, units, lang. Oh, so we can change our units here. Let's do that first, right? Units should be standard, metric, or imperial. Standard is by default. So standard is Kelvin. So we want imperial, which is actually standard. All right, so we'll just we'll add it as a variable here. Units equals imperial. And then we'll pass it in our URL. And here's what I want to do is I want to go by order of priority. So our app ID is our first thing, and our units is our second priority, the next least likely thing to change, and our latitude and our longitude. All right, so we've gone ahead and changed our units. We could make units a parameter here, but why? Nobody ever wants anything outside of standard imperial units. All right, so now we've got temperatures 49 degrees Fahrenheit. Sea level still says the same. I assume that's still metric. But anyway, we're getting our temperature in a reasonable format. And I think that's all we're going to do for today. I was really just testing out OBS. And let's go ahead and bring this back up. Yeah, I was just testing out OBS, testing out my new multi-camera setup where I can actually even, you can see both cameras at the same time. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right, that's stupid. That's it for today. I'll go ahead and close this camera down, close Chrome down, and show my result that I'm able to call node open weather and get the standard units. I think I probably did it wrong with Chrome. Get inside my window.